What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to you with a quick video. We're gonna have some rookie analysis today, and we're gonna talk about Frank ntilikina. I believe that's how you say it. The guy got drafted by Phil Jackson. They did, as Knicks fans, they did not know what to expect out of this guy. He's a guy that can play multiple positions because he is 6'5". He is 190, but he also can play the point guard. He has the size of a shooting guard, and he can switch even on small forwards. He's not strong enough. He's not big enough to defend the threes and the fours. He has the length, he has the quickness, but he's just not strong enough. He's not going to be able to bang with them, and they can shoot over him because they're stronger and taller, and they can get position on him. So defensively, he's a lot better than what we thought. I'm not saying he's a lockdown defender. I'm not saying he's the best defender, but Frank has become a solid defender so far, better than what I expected, I should say. And he is averaging almost two steals a game, but he don't even play that many minutes. He only playing 20.4 minutes a game, which is barely even playing. Um, he wasn't like Porzingis that came in and got a lot of minutes right away. Even though Porzingis, they took a lot of shots away from him. Carmelo, Derrick Rose, stunted his growth because he had to play more of a role in the offense instead of being the offense. And we seen the same thing with Frank. Usually when you draft a player high in the draft, you want them to get a lot of minutes, get a lot of playing time so they can grow and develop and learn from how the defense guards them, how a certain player guards them, learn on the fly because you don't have that much practice time. A lot of people told me in the NBA, depending on the coach and depending on the team. So the best way to get better is to practice shots and actually take them within the game. So that way the shots and the things you're working on, you have a chance to see how to do it in a real game. And you can't really do that when you're not on the court playing. You can't build the confidence up because you're not able to do it that much. You can't really learn your teammates as much because you're not playing with them that much. And there's different lineups that you have to play with. And that's another thing that can hurt you if you're a player that's not getting that many minutes. Obviously, Frank was a guy that everybody was saying, like, what are the Knicks doing? Can he play? Nobody really knows how good he is. Besides people like that scouts and that work for the NBA. And a lot of people didn't really know who he was in general. And I was one of the people that I heard about him. I seen him a little bit, but I didn't really know what to expect. I heard about him. I didn't know if he could play. I don't know if his game fits the NBA style, is something that I said going into the draft when I made my mock draft was Frank. Right now, I don't really know if he can play in the NBA, and he is shooting 34 from three, which is okay. And he is shooting 36 from the field, which he's not really getting that much playing time. He's only getting 6 shots a game. So you can't really judge Frank. That's the point I want to make off how he plays this year. He played all 28 games, but he's not really getting that many shot attempts. He's not really shooting that many threes. He's not really getting that many minutes. And he has averaged 3 assists. He has averaged 6 points and 2 rebounds, but we have such a small sample size of Frank that we don't really know how good and how great and how his game really transitions and fits in the NBA because of the small amount of playing that we have seen from him. And I feel like it is hurting his growth a little bit, knowing that he's not on the court enough to really make a big impact on the team and for us to really know how good he really is. But you also, if you're the Knicks, you still happy that you're 16 and 14 because at the end of the day, you're still winning basketball games. Obviously, if you have Frank starting, we don't know if they would have won as many basketball games, and they probably would have been in the lottery, which ain't a bad thing. If you're going to build around Kristaps Porzingis with Frank, you still want them to get chemistry. You still want them to play together. And even if you get a lottery pick, you prefer to have that because there's no guarantee that superstars are going to want to come to New York. So if you can get draft picks to rebuild this franchise with another top 10 pick, why not go get it? Even though they might still miss the playoffs, but they still most likely not going to get a top 10 pick anyway because they exceeded expectations at this point. But if you can't sign the next big free agent, if you can't get another superstar to come and play with Porzingis, you're going to have to try to get great players and develop them through the draft. And that's because, Porzingis, when he played with talent, he was never the number one option until now. Now they're giving him the shot attempts. Now they're letting him get the ball in the fourth quarter. Now we're starting to see how good Chris Tapps can be, and most of that is because Melo and Rose is gone, and now they have to depend on somebody, and Porzingis has stepped up. And Frank has stepped up in a lot of games, making key steals, playing great defense, leading into game-selling plays, hitting big shots in the fourth quarter. Even when it's late in the game, he has made some big shots. He has took some big shots. And I like what I'm seeing out of him in the minutes that I see him, in the time I see him. He's a guy that actually is good. But going into the draft, we didn't know how good he would be, and we still don't really know that now. And it's kind of crazy that, you get a top 10 pick and people are still trying to figure out how good is this guy and how great can he be, and we really can't tell you right now. But Frank is a solid defender. He's not a great shooter. He's a guy that right now plays off of other players. He's not really a creator, I should say. He doesn't really create his own shot for what I done seen. He's not really a good on ball shooter, shot creator. He's a solid playmaker. And we knew a little bit about that when he played overseas. But he shows right now that he can play the point guard position. The potential is there. He has the size. He has to get the body to go along that 6'5" frame. And obviously that's what a lot of rookies have to do. So it ain't nothing new. So I can't really knock him for it. But that is something that he's going to have to do. He's definitely going to have to learn how he gonna be effective scoring the ball in the future. Because if he becomes a starter, if he gets a lot of minutes like he did when some people went down, how is he gonna score the ball when he has the ball in his hands? Because he can make the plays, he can make the right passes, he's a solid decision maker. But how is he going to score the ball consistently when he can't shoot and he's not strong enough to get to the paint at will? He's quick enough, he's long enough, but he's not strong enough, and he still don't have a reliable jump shot, so team's going to sag off of him. And he hasn't really shown that he can knock down that mid-range jumper. He hasn't really shown that much of a in-between mid-range game, the floaters, the footwork of, spin moves and Euro stepping. He don't have the footwork right now. He doesn't have the jump shot right now. And they usually let him play on the perimeter anyway, which is kind of weird because he wasn't known when he came out the draft to be a shooter, and he still hasn't became a shooter now. But we really can't tell in the minutes that he's getting. But the thing I wanted to talk about in the last question I want to say before I end the video that I want you guys to say in the comment section and answer the question is, do you think Frank Ntilikina can be the franchise point guard? They went through Langston Galloway. I told you guys that he's not a starter. He's a role player. So he wasn't the guy, but he played a lot of starting point guard minutes. I told you guys Derrick Rose, he can play. He's going to help them in the future. Obviously, they flopped and never made the playoffs when Derrick came last year. They still drafted a point guard anyway in Frank. And he can play shooting guard too. But, is Frank Ntilikina their franchise point guard? They got Tim Hardaway Jr., so they don't really need him to play the shooting guard position. And he is a modern day shooting guard, a guy that can shoot the three, create shots off the dribble, and make when he has to. But Frank, if he's going to be the franchise point guard, he's going to need more playing time. He's going to need more minutes, and he's going to have to develop even quicker. Because if this team really wants to contend in the next couple years, they got to start having people with talent on the roster and playing, and that will increase their time of winning. I think that Jared Jack has played a solid mentor. I think he has played a solid role on the team, but I'd rather them play Frank and lose if he's going to be that franchise guy in the future. But you can bring him along slowly and he still can develop anyway, just to say that too. But I rather them just, worst case scenario, you lose and get a top 10 pick. Best case scenario, you win enough games to make the playoffs, but you're not good enough to win the series and you're not bad enough to get a top 10 pick, which is not where you really want to be. But this is where they find themselves out now. So what do you guys think? Can he be an all-star player? Can he be a superstar player? Can he be the franchise point guard? And that's the number one reason why Phil Jackson drafted him number 8 overall, because he's seen something in him that he didn't see in Dennis Smith, that he didn't see in Malik Monk. I want this guy. He did the same thing with Porzingis, and right now it's paying off. But we don't know how good Frank can be just yet. So let me know what you guys think. Franchise player, all-star, superstar, potential two-way player, or he just another solid player on the roster that they drafted and he might be a bust. He might not be anything good, or you just don't see it in general. Let me know what you guys think. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis signing out. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Also, check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the comment section in the description below. Click the link and send you my website. Click the link and send you my Facebook page. If you watching on Twitter, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you on Twitter, also check out my website. It'll be in the description of my Facebook page. My Twitter page. Also, check out my Facebook. If you're on Facebook watching, like on Facebook, like the page, and check out the website. It's a link on the description of my Facebook page also. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going, and let me know what you guys think about Frank Ntilikina in the New York Knicks.